one wise man said, ask not what a country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. You know, which means it's going to be important that people have a sense of doing than waiting. If I speak of it, I love, you know, the reason why I emphasize system is because the system is done by men, okay, and the system can be changed by men. A system that will not make people to be consumers, okay, but a system that's going to say, let people be producers than consumers. Let everybody work, you know, let everybody be responsible, let everybody, you know, have a sense of responsibility. Then we grow a very good society. It begins with an individual, it begins with a family, it begins with a community, it begins with a region, a province, a nation, and a country. Because look, where do you begin to tell somebody to believe themselves if they coming from starvation, when they slept without eating, when they have no parents, when they have no education, where they don't just see future. Every time they wake up, they just feel down. They just feel like they should die. Where do you begin to tell somebody to believe in themselves in that? And then where do you begin to educate people about HIV and AIDS in this kind of environment? You see, the moment we get a system that is going to allow people to be able to listen, allow people to be happy, allow people to say, hey, I'm happy to wake up today, I'm happy to see today. You know, I'm working, I'm studying, you know, I have food in my table, you know, I have a small garden, but it works, you know, it feeds me, it feeds my family. So the moment we have a system that makes people feel that way, that is when every system implemented in this country is going to work. Now, what does it mean? It means that people must be empowered. We need skills development, we need youth development, we need community development. You see, everybody that does social working or social sciences or social development, now those people have a big role to play in terms of finding a skills gap needed in the communities or in the country, so that when information such as HIV information, HIV education comes, it comes to a very fertile ground in that individual's brain, so that, you know, we can look at things positively, even if it's negative, but maybe people becomes pessimistic, optimistic people. Put it that way, maybe. You know what I mean? So that's what we need to have. I'm looking at the issue of education. Now, education is very important. So until we change the way that we educate our young people, that is when we have a change of behavior. And that's that. So once we have a change of education system, it's going to be easy for us to say, okay, if we have an education system that says young people must respect themselves, young people must respect their culture, must respect their religion, must have a sense of responsibility and accountability, then we'll be growing a nation that is positive. Yeah, I think we should change the way of education.
To actually be able to influence policy. And because if you can influence policies and around protection of children and everything, that's a maximum impact in the country, in the SADC and in Africa.
What the core reasons would be, and we know what the contributing reasons are: unemployment, poverty, and that kind of a thing. But what the core reason is, what makes two people in the same situation choose different paths. I think ultimately that's what it comes to, and I don't have an answer for that. I think it's got to do with your, more inner strength and, you know, with your own background. Different people growing up in gangsterism areas, I suppose it's got to do with your values. And if you're strong enough on the inside to be able to resist that kind of temptation, you might make it. But I mean, if you don't have that kind of support, and if that kind of good value system wasn't instilled in a child from a young age, you know, then they're easier targets when peer pressure comes along.
What we can do now is to educate our young people right now about their culture, about their religion, so that they grow up with a sense of self-awareness. Fundamental objective goal of the program is for young people to get a sense of belonging.
Right.
Because once a young person gets a sense of belonging, that is when they feel accepted. That's when they feel hopeful. That's when they have faith, which is the fundamental, or should I say, the foundation of belief. Because without faith, you cannot believe. So now these young people get to see the future when they are Gogo gets a program.
And I think it's also important that the girls can see that even though we're living in a diverse society with people having different opinions and cultures, that we can find common ground.